ETF Ride Systems and Toverland caught everyone by surprise last week by announcing a brand new roller coaster. On paper, it looks completely over-engineered and honestly like a weird choice for a growing theme park. But is ETF about to revolutionize the theme park industry, or is this just going to be an expensive one-off prototype? To answer that, we have to look past the flashy concept art and break down what ETF and Toverland have actually announced here. The glaring capacity issues, the incredibly tiny market for this ride type, and most importantly, whether this thing is actually a roller coaster at all. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the capacity. The Swinging Bobsled coming to Toverland only fits 2 people per vehicle. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is exactly like the old Maximus Blitzbahn, so we are signing up for another hour plus wait in line. And you're right. If ETF wants this model to succeed on a massive scale, launching a brand new roller coaster with capacity this low is a massive red flag. But we should take a step back and remember that this is a literal world's first prototype. This specific Swinging Bobsled is just trying to stay true to the nostalgia of the Blitzbahn. Once ETF proves the tech works, there's absolutely no reason they couldn't scale this up to a 4-person vehicle. But here's the harsh reality. Even if they double the capacity to a 4-seater, the mod still sucks for a massive destination park. As a pure roller coaster, it's just never going to eat through crowds. So that raises the question, who is ETF actually trying to sell this to? The obvious target would be the smaller regional parks that are looking for a unique family coaster. But if ETF wants to sell to that market, they have to go head-to-head with companies who are already in that market. Wiegand pioneered this exact concept with their coaster cart, and Maurer has been pushing the Spike coaster, another powered model with adjustable speed and notorious capacity issues. It's easy to look at that and say, well, more competition in the industry is always a good thing, right? And only you would be right. But if you actually look at the numbers, parks aren't exactly lining up for these concepts. There are only 4 coaster carts operating in the entire world, and Maurer Spike coasters haven't exactly been flying off the shelves either. So ETF is stepping directly onto unproven turf, spending millions in research and development to develop a low-capacity interactive coaster for a market that history proves might not even exist. And for a company known for dark rides, that is a massive financial gamble. So when you combine that incredibly tiny market with capacity that scares away the major players, why did a dark ride company like ETF even bother building this? To answer that, we need to take a step back and stop looking at it as just a roller coaster. If you judge the Swinging Bobsled purely on its coaster qualities, it's honestly a bit of a head scratcher. Being completely powered is fine, and giving riders control over the speed is a nice nod to the old Blitzbahn, but it's nothing revolutionary. But then you look at the swinging gimmick, and that's entirely mechanical too. Why not just let physics do the work instead? As a pure roller coaster, it's nothing special. But as a powered dark ride hybrid, it's an absolute game changer. Imagine this, you start off in a slow, immersive show scene, and then suddenly you have to push those levers to blast into a high-speed escape sequence. That is where this technology truly shines. But hold on a second, if we take a low-capacity roller coaster and slow it down even further for immersive show scenes, doesn't that just make our capacity problem even worse? On a standard coaster, absolutely. You need block zones so that trains don't hit each other, and the number of block zones dictates how many trains you can run. But remember, the Swinging Bobsled is completely powered, meaning it relies on sensors instead of physical brakes. In fact, the old Blitzbahn already did this. Even though it had a minimum speed, if you got too close to the cart in front of you, the system would automatically step in and slow your vehicle down. ETF is taking that exact concept and scaling it up. During the slower dark ride scenes, vehicles can safely run closer together because they are moving at a lower speed. This means you can put way more vehicles on the track at the exact same time. And you don't even need a complex system to space them out for a high thrill finale. Just like Droomvlucht at the Efteling, the gap happens naturally. When the vehicle in front of you hits the high-speed section, it accelerates and pulls away, creating a massive safe distance before you speed up yourself. You get the thrilling finale, but with a huge boost to the hourly capacity. So treating this concept like a dark ride hybrid completely fixes the capacity issue. But that raises another question. If ETF is basically just designing a high-tech dark ride, why put it on a roller coaster track at all? Well, look at traditional dark rides. Whether they are trackless or follow a physical guide track on the floor, they are fantastic for storytelling. But these vehicles just aren't built for thrills. You can't exactly send a trackless dark ride through a loop. But the Swinging Bobsled sits on actual steel coaster track. Because the vehicle is physically locked to the rails, ETF can seamlessly integrate aggressive coaster elements right in the middle of dark ride sequences. Just imagine, we could get elements like a drop track or even inversions in dark rides. But there's one glaring problem with this idea. ETF is a dark ride manufacturer. They don't build steel roller coasters. And that is exactly where the missing piece of the puzzle comes in. When ETF announced they were building a roller coaster, it probably caught a lot of people off guard. But it actually makes perfect sense when you look at the business side of things. If you didn't know, Intamin's ownership group actually acquired ETF Ride Systems last year. Now, they still operate as completely separate entities, but that acquisition opened the door for some serious cross-pollination. We already saw the first hint of this with the multi-dimension mover, where they took ETF's dark ride tech and combined it with Intamin's launch capabilities and dynamic movement elements. ETF knows exactly how to pace an immersive dark ride, and Intamin knows exactly how to engineer extreme butter-smooth coaster elements. This Swinging Bobsled prototype is the next step in the evolution of their partnership, but it really feels like Intamin is the one flexing here. ETF is providing the smart, variable speed vehicles and show control, but the steel track, the potential for aggressive elements, and the mechanical swinging have Intamin's DNA written all over it. Instead of ETF simply trying to build a roller coaster, this looks like Intamin is using ETF's technology to create a completely new breed of high-thrill dark ride hybrids. One they can confidently pitch to the world's biggest destination parks. But that leaves us with one massive question. If ETF and Intamin are building this amazing new dark ride technology, why are they debuting it outdoors as a roller coaster? When you look at the situation, it actually makes perfect sense. Toverland was stuck. They needed a very specific, custom replacement that fit the exact footprint of the old Blitzbahn. At the same time, ETF needed a park willing to test out their brand new prototype. It's just too perfect of a match to be a coincidence. Which brings us to the real theory here. And remember, this is pure speculation. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think Toverland just bought a roller coaster. I think they locked in a package deal for their next big expansion. And to be clear, I'm not talking about the smaller family dark ride coming to Port Laguna in 2027. I mean a true high-budget experience. It is very likely they were already talking to ETF about finally building one, and using this prototype to replace the dying Blitzbahn sealed the deal. Ultimately, I think the Swinging Bobsled will be a one-off prototype for Toverland. It is too specific and niche to really break into the market as a roller coaster. But I believe this to be a stepping stone to something much bigger, something that will truly revolutionize the dark ride scene as we know it. If you missed the initial reveal and want to get caught up on exactly what Toverland is building, click the video on the screen right now to check out the full announcement breakdown.